What's up, fighting game fans? This is Vicious765 here, and I got another theory for you guys. Now, this theory is gonna take you through some twists and turns. It involves two Tekken characters, or perhaps actually three Tekken characters that we know of so far. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a whirl here. I'm just gonna ask you to bear with me. I might stutter a little bit because I never write any of this down. I just have a general idea of what I might say to you guys. So here goes. Um, Dr. Abel, I've spoken about Dr. Abel before, and I think I spoke a little bit about him and like where is he? Is he dead and whatnot? Now, with Dragunov's ending on Tekken 5 DR. Now, in my most recent video about Tekken 7 Fatal Retribution, the theories video, I stated that might have been a Kuma in that container there. But you know what? Now that I think about it, it possibly be Ogre. Now, this is why I say this because Ogre, I know Tekken Tag isn't canon, but let's examine this. In Tekken 4, in Heihachi's prologue, so we find out that Heihachi was they were unable to capture Ogre, but they were able to capture blood samples and tissue samples from Ogre. So Jin could have done anything to him. He could have turned into Devil because it's not exactly clear. What we see in Tekken 3 might not be exactly what happened. Um, Jin blanked out and he fucking crushed Ogre. He beat him to death, perhaps. But, during this time, he could have done all sorts of things to him. He could have kicked him. He could have made him spit up blood by punching him really hard in the stomach or kicking his shit up. Or you never know. And tissue samples, you can get that from probably, skin coming off because, Jin wears those rubber gloves. It might take some skin off if he kicks somebody hard enough, or not kick somebody, punch somebody hard enough, or you never know. He might have been cut by an elbow because I believe Jin does have one elbow in the game, doesn't he? Um, anyway, and not even in the game, but just it's something that could happen. It's something that could happen. You do agree with this, right? So, when they say fail to capture Ogre, this kind of makes me think capture him. Well, they got his body. They don't need to capture him. So that kind of alludes to me like maybe Ogre somehow got away. And then I started thinking about his Tekken Tag 2 ending. And like I said, Tekken Tag is not canon, but it still gives you an idea of what could be. Like, when in Tekken Tag 2 in Ancient Ogres ending, you do see that there are different ogres and they just sort of teleport in there. Like they just come out of nowhere. Like the fucking space opens up and they just sort of teleport to the planet. Now this makes me think, what if the ogre that was in the Iron Fist tournament, the third Iron Fist tournament, what if he had the same mechanism, the same ability, and he sort of teleported himself out while Jin was preoccupied with dealing with the Tekken Force and Heihachi? Now, does this sound viable to you guys? Well, if you don't want to turn to that as something as like a viable theory, what about this? Picture this. Maybe Ogre died and maybe one of the other ogres like came to get him. Maybe it was another ogre from another, part in the galaxy or something or other. Could that be possible? And again, I guess that is a non-canon thing as well, but if they failed to capture him, if they couldn't capture Ogre's body, then I think they would have mentioned that they captured his body and Tekken 4 in Heihachi's prologue. So I kind of think Ogre sort of got away or something happened with him. And we fast forward to Tekken 4. Dr. Boskanovich gets, not Boskanovich, Dr. Abel, he gets knocked the fuck out by Brian. And I think I said this in a previous video. It could be because Dr. Boskanovich, he did a lot of experimentation with biological growth and biological warfare and so on and so forth. Hell, he was good with cybernetics and he even engineered Genicell, which it was engineered to suppress the devil gene to enable people to control the devil gene, which was going to be used for Heihachi. So, I mean, he's an expert in this field. It makes me think, maybe he was put in a capsule. Maybe the Mishima Zaibatsu put him in a capsule, or maybe You know, he could have been in a stabilized state, maybe in critical condition, and somehow Dragonov got a hold of him. He discovered him or something or other. Maybe the Yoshimitsu had hit his body so it could stabilize after Brian had knocked him out. Because remember, Yoshimitsu had gotten Brian so he could save Brian's life. So it could have been that Yoshimitsu hit him somewhere in Russia where, nobody would ever find him. And then lo and behold, we see in the endings that Dragunov is trying to reactivate something and he might understand Dr. Abel's genius because it seems like Dragunov knows of Dr. Boskanovich. I mean, I would think so, but seeing as they're both Russian and, he has an ending where he receives a gift from Dr. Boskanovich. I would think that maybe Dr. Abel, maybe he wants to reactivate Abel or, heal Abel so he can have Abel work for him. And that in turn creates Gigas, possibly. Or you never know. It could be that Ogre teleported to the other side of the world. Instead of being in Mexico, he probably teleported to Russia to get away from danger. Ended up, passing out and fading, losing power. And then Dragunov just found him and he wanted to reactivate him and use him as a weapon in his war missions. But let me know what you guys think because I think that the whole ogre thing, it might sound a little bit far fetched, but if you really think about it, Ogre is a very strange individual. We know next to nothing about him besides he's some sort of alien weapon that was going to be used to enslave or annihilate the human race, which didn't end up happening, and that's kind of where things end. Besides, he he started a fire near Jin's home, and you know he got beat up by Jin in a Iron Fist tournament, the third Iron Fist tournament. So I mean, you never know. I mean, there's all sorts of surprises with Ogre, but let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you later.